Hi friends, this is Manish Pandey. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will dive into an important part of UiPath Studio that is called Data Manager Panel. We will talk about each and every component of this Data Manager Panel. So let's get started. Once you'll open UiPath Studio, so you can see left side like activities, then snippets, projects, and right side you can see here we have properties and then object repository, data manager and outline, right? So you need to click on this data manager and pin this one. Now before discussing more about the component of this data manager panel, let's understand what is data manager panel and what is the use of this. The data manager panel is like your control center for all the data and resources your project needs. Imagine a well-organized storage room where you keep all the important information like your password, list of tasks and connection details, etc. You open this panel in UiPath Studio and it has everything in one place, which makes building automations much easier and faster. Why we should use the data manager panel? First, it is a huge time saver. You don't need to go digging around for the important data, it's all there in one panel. Secondly, it keeps your automation organized and secure. Lastly, it lets you connect easily to other applications or services like database, API or cloud platforms. Data Manager in UiPath Studio is like a control center for all the information your automation needs to work with. Think of it as a storage room where all the important stuff for your project is organized and easy to find. The components of Data Manager Panel. The Data Manager Panel allows you to manage various types of data in your automation projects, and this data includes variables. So we'll discuss one by one. The variables, it stores the data of different types and pass it between the activities in the project. Okay, so you know about the variables. So we have three things that we are going to discuss: variable, arguments and constants, right? For the variables and arguments, we have these panels. If you already have this data manager and if we can create the variables, we can manage the variables, manage the arguments from here, then there is no use of these two, right? Variables and arguments. And if you want to hide arguments and variables from your UiPath Studio, then you can do it. I will show you how to hide these two panels. Click on this home, go to settings, click on design and then scroll down. You will see here show data manager panel only. Currently this is disabled. If you select yes, then only data manager panel will be displayed and then arguments and variables panel will be hidden. You can see the annotations here, the tooltip. It shows that the variables and arguments imports panel will be hidden. So imports panel will be also hidden here. So because now we have namespaces there in the data manager. So let's set it yes and then reload it here so that we can see it right now. Now let's go here and now you can see here these three options have been removed: variables, arguments and the imports, right? Because now variables we can create from data manager, arguments we can create from data manager and namespaces that we can add it from here. Now variables panel, arguments panel and imports panel are not there, then how can you create a variable? So let me show you how to manage the variables, how to create and manage the variables, arguments and constants from the data manager. So you can see here this is the variables. Click on this. We are getting the option to click on this plus icon which will create a new variable. If you click on this three options, then also it gives you the list of options like create new variable, create new global variable, create bulk variables. From here as well you can click and then it will give you option to create variable, arguments or constants. We will click on this new variable, and now here you need to enter the variable name. So I will say string underscore anything, you can take like full name. Now full name will be a string, so you need to select that type. So for based on this variable, my data type will be string. Now here we have a scope. So if you want to create this variable, and only this should be accessible inside the any specific scope, then you can choose that scope here. So I will select it main here. Okay, this is the default value. If you want to pass the default value to this, you can enter here. Now this variable has been created. If you want to delete it, so you can right click, you can delete the variable, you can edit the variable, you can rename variables. So let me rename this. Now I am saying that this should be str_city. Okay, now scope should be open app. If you want to delete it, you can click on delete variable, that will be deleted. If you want to add annotations to this one, so it will add annotations. We have find references, so if you want to find the reference of this variable, you can find that. So it will give you the list of places where this variable is being used, right? You can also convert the variable to arguments. So we have all these options which you can see it from variables panel, arguments panel. You can access it, those things here. Now the second things, you can create bulk variables. So right click here, or you can click on these three options, and then you can bulk create variables. It means if you have a requirement where like you know that all these variable names and you want to create all these variables at once here in a bulk, you can do it. So we have option click new. Okay, so you can create multiple here. So like strct, somewhere you need like string as a str full address, you need str_name full name, you need integer, so integer, and then it will be your count, or like you need boolean value. So you can create everything in those variables in the bulk, and then change your data types as per your variables, right? You can change the scope, right? And then if you want to add the default value, you can pass it here. Now let's close that. And now you will see here we have created variables in a bulk. Same way we have options to create bulk arguments here, and you can add it here. You can pass the directions in, out, in, out. So we have only 3 directions here. Data types we can choose that. So in_file path, in_ credentials. This you can take anything, let's say this one, file path string, and close. Now we just now created 2 arguments, right? So variables you created here, arguments, bulk arguments you created. For the single one, it's just simple click here and then enter the name. So in_ any value, if you want to put value, your directions, data type, and the value you can choose here. If you want to select to data type to integer, you can do it. So this way you can create arguments. Now right click on the specific arguments. If you want to convert this to the variable, you can convert here, copy, paste, rename, edit, delete, annotations, edit, remove annotations, find reference, everything you can do it. So let's say I want to delete this. So now this will be removed. Now this has been removed, but here it's not reflecting because we need to refresh that. Now once you refresh this arguments is deleted. We are not able to see here. Now right click on this variable and you can see here one option, new global variable. So once you click on this, it will give you option to create a global variables. So global variable, like you can put it like global underscore anything if you want to put, let's say global variable you want to take your inventory stock, so it will be your stock or anything, you want to put the name. So global, and then this will be integer, so global integer. Data type you want to choose integer 32 or click OK. Now global variable has been created. Now how can you identify that this is global variables? If you see here this variable, there is an icon here, right, and then a scope is showing here global. So this icon, it looks like earth, but this is only x, simple. So this is the normal variable and this is global variable. And now let's go to the constant. So if you want to add constants that the value do not change, that is the constant, you want to create that, you can create here. So new, and then put here constant underscore any value that you think that it should not be changed. So retry count, change it to number and default value 5. So this is the constant and the scope is global. If you want to edit it, edit the constant, but you cannot edit the name and data type. Once you create it, you cannot edit the name and its type, only you can edit its default value. If you need to put some other name, you don't need this, you can delete it and create a separate one, but you cannot modify the existing one. If you right click on this constants, you can copy, edit, delete, find reference, those things you can do. Now let's go to the global variable. Once you right click on this global variable, you will see here one option, create trigger. Now what is this create trigger? This create trigger lets you set up triggers that can automatically start workflows based on the specific conditions, and triggers are especially useful when you want certain actions to run automatically without manual interventions. If you click on this, it is going to add a new file, new XML file. Click OK. Now let's go to the project. Now you can see here one folder has been created, triggers, and inside that one XML file created with this name global int stock trigger. So what is this name? Why this has taken? Because this has been taken based on the your global integer stock global variable. And inside this workflow, you can see here it has one local trigger activity created here, and you can see global variable changed trigger, and the variable that we created here that has been assigned to this. Now what is this? So this create trigger option allows you to set up rules or event like triggers that will automatically start a process or perform a specific actions where certain conditions related to this variables are met. Now after that we have resources. So activities that add resources such as files, email accounts, applications or browsers to the project. Now let me show you here. So currently you are not able to see any resources here, so no items in this category yet. Why and how can you see this, any value, any data in this resources? So let's say I'm going to use Excel file. Once you will take this use Excel file here, drag and drop, and then automatically you will see here this Excel is showing here. Now what is this Excel? This Excel showing you your reference, this huge Excel, this one. Now if I will put here some Excel file, if I change the name, the same name will be displayed here. So it says that we can do it like this, space not allowed, and now you will see here the same name, right? Now I want to pass the Excel file, so you can click on that, you can pass here, or you can configure this from this resources directly. So right click on this resources and then open Excel file location, configure and delete. So currently we do not have any Excel file selected here, so we need to first configure that, and then select Excel file. So I am going to select one Excel file from here. So vendor master, this one I have selected. Now once you will select that, you can see here it has string.format options applied here, then curly braces, and this curly braces is going to replace with this value environment.get folder path, environment.special folder .user profile, and then it is in the downloads folder. This is the Excel file, and give it a name for later. So later on if you want to use that Excel file, so you can put the specific name. So yes, this is the vendor master update list. So you can do it like this. You can apply the save changes. If you want to work with this Excel as a read only mode, so you can choose it. If you want to modify this something in the Excel file, so do not select that. Now click OK. Now the same file will be updated here. Now let's say if I am going to use this read range activity, now I need to pass the range. So if I will click on this plus icon, it gives you option to choose that. So this is the Excel file I am going to use. So vendor master update list, this Excel file, and then here we can pass like sheet 1, or you can indicate that in the directly Excel, like what will be the range. So you can do it, or like you can enter the custom input. So what will be the table name? You want to work with the pivot table, so you can select that way. If you want to enter the range, you can enter the range here. You need to update the sheet, then you can update the sheet here. Worksheet name, what will be the worksheet name? You can enter here, right? So you can work with that. If you want to indicate, so it will allow you to open the Excel file and indicate on that Excel. So let's see here. So it has opened that Excel file, and now you can choose that. Okay, so now you can see here current selection is sheet 1 A1 to C4, A1 to C4. So this is my range that I have selected, or if you need to write something from here, you can do it. So you can see the current selection. Okay, so click confirm. Now this range will be applied here, so you can work with this based on these resources applied here. So no need to type anything. So you can use these resources like this way, and this is not only for this huge Excel file. There will be multiple things. Let's say we have huge browser, huge application browser. Let's say we have this one, and you can see here huge application browser. This is a resource, right? Entities, so records from data service, a centralized data modeling and a storage service. So recently I uploaded a series of video on this data service where you can learn about the entities and the data service in details. You can go through that. Whatever entities you have created, that will be accessible here. If we'll expand this, you can see we have product master, vendor master and system user. This one is imported here, UiPath data manager. In this side we have vendor master. If you want to import any entity here, you can import it from here. You can right click, import all, and then choose anyone if you want to import. So these two are already imported. Here you can see all this fields, so you can manage the entities as well. Now we have processes. So from processes you can view all the processes that is deployed, that is created in the orchestrator for that specific folder which you selected here. So if you change it to UiPath workspace, you will not able to see any processes here. So only based on that folders you can access those processes here. You can copy this and you can use it anywhere. So let's say we have one assign activity, and or let's say you have get queue items, you want to run that process, then it will be copied and then you can paste it here. So this you can copy and paste. You can right click, view process in the orchestrator as well. So you can see here this is the process. Now how to use this? If you drag and drop these processes here, then you can see what is happening. It is giving you the list of activities related to the processes. Automatically this processes will be assigned to that start job. So let's take this one. You can see start job activity, and now inside that the folder path is learning, which is selected here, and then process name is selected, whatever you entered here, right? Now we have assets. So assets usually represents shared variables or credentials that can be used in the different automation projects. They allow you to store specific information so that the robot can easily access it. And queues. Queues basically is a container that enables you to hold an unlimited number of items. Queue items can store multiple types of data such as invoice, information, or customer details, or enable you to create large automations project underlined by complex logics. So you know about all this, right? But here in the data manager you can access all the assets that you have created for your automations. You created inside this learning folder. In this learning folder you can access it from assets. You can see currently we have only 2 assets, one credential and one text. So you can access it from here. If you want to use any of these, you can use that. In the assets, if you want to use this assets anywhere in your project, then you can do it. So let's say you want to get the credential. So you will drag and drop here. Now you want to get the credential of this UI demo application. So you will choose here get credential, or you want to change the credentials, so you can use set credentials. So once you get this credential, and you can see here that credential assets will be passed here. So let's say this is UI demo path and you want to get the assets. So you will drag and drop here, and then you can get the assets here. So this assets will be passed to this asset name. You can see here, right? So you just need to drag and drop to this workspace area. Now we have queues. So this is the same thing. You can drag and drop, and it will give you the list of activities related to the queues. So you want to get the queue items, or you want to get the transition item from this queue, you can use it here. So let's say get queue items, and that queue name will be passed here. Now we have connections. Connection, it links between your automation and external applications. And the namespace, which defines the scope of your expressions, variables and arguments. Importing namespace makes it easy to refer to elements from those namespace. Now from here, so currently there is no connections. If you have any connections added there in your orchestrator, then that will be accessible here. Now namespace, you can see system.activities, system.activity statements, expressions, validations. You can view all which is related to this project only. System.data, system.io, this one. So let's say I was saying like this. So we have activity, and we have system.io dot, and then file dot create of dot copy, anything you can use it here. So if you have this system.io added to this namespace, then you can directly use this way, file dot create, and you will not get any error. But if you don't have that, if you, let's say you deleted that one, okay, so this is in use. So let's say I'm going to remove this first. So let's say if you are going to remove this, so now I remove that, right? There is no system.io namespace here. Now if I am going to write here file dot create, so I am not able to use that method or those properties of this file, and I am getting error here, right? So it says that if I need to take this, I need to use this, so I have to write complete thing like system.io dot, and then it will allow you to access all these things. So file dot create, right? Now there is no error. So instead of writing all these things here, what you can do, you can take this system.io and then you can import that here. So right click, you can add the namespace, right click, add namespace, search here system.io, and you can take it here. Now this has been added here. Now you can just remove it, and now there is no error, right? So this is the namespace. Okay, so we covered all the components of this data manager panel. Now from the top side you can see here, so we have plus icon, which is used to create variables, constant, arguments, those things. Plus this expand all, used to expand all the values of all these components. You can see collapse. Now refresh that. So you saw that when I removed one variable and then I was going to remove that, then it was removed actually, but here I was not getting that. So why? So once we refresh that, then the data was removed, right? So this is the refresh. It's used to refresh this. Now we have group items by scope. What is this? So we have variables or arguments. We have all these variables created based on the scope. So this variables, the scope is main, this is for global. So if you click on that, it will show you, it will group those variables based on the scope. So let's say one variable is part of this global scope, one variable is part of main scope, one variable, the scope is sequence. So we can access. Now this is the sync with active scope. It will sync with your active scope. Scope means your sequence, this sequence, this sequence. So if we have selected this one, so it will sync with that, and only you can see that a specific variable that is for that specific scope. So if I click on this sequence open app, then currently I can access all because there is no variable assigned to this one. So let's go to the login app. Okay, now login app, so you can see here address I can access here because it's assigned to this login app. So I can access main here because it is set to the main scope. So I can access all those variables which is set to scope main. Okay, now this is global. Okay, globally this can also be accessed. Okay, now let's say I am here, the close app. So you can see it refreshed. Now I can access only string name, boolean, and this global, right? Now here we have option sort section elements. Okay, so if you click on that, it says that do you want to sort, like how do you want to see these values? I want to sort based on the A to Z name. So once I will select that, you can see it has sorted already, and then I can access these. So starting the variable name is B, right? So based on this name B, G, S, so it can sort that. Now here we have option data manager filters. This is also very important things. So you can filter by category. So all these are category like variables, arguments, all these things. For this automation, you don't need to create any connections. So you can uncheck this, and now you will not able to see that connection from here. You don't want to import any namespace also, you can uncheck that. You are not going to work with any entities, you can uncheck that. So we covered each and every components of data managers, and I hope this video helped you understand the data manager panel in UiPath Studio from basic to more advanced features. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more UiPath tutorials. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.